Today we're going to be talking about weight, okay? So our objective today is we want you to be able to estimate measurements of weight in grams and ounces. So if we were to kind of put weight and mass together and they were fighting, or we were just going to compare the difference there, weight versus mass. Weight can actually change with gravity. So if you think about your weight here on Earth, and then if you were able to travel to the moon, remember there's no gravity on the moon, so your weight is actually going to change on the moon, okay? Whereas mass, if you remember from science, mass is the amount of something inside an object, so the amount of you inside of you, that's your mass. We called it stuff, but you know how I don't like that word. But your mass is going to remain the same. Even if you go to the moon, your mass is not going to change, but your weight would. So weight can change with gravity, mass remains the same. So please remember that. Okay, so before we get started today, I want to kind of highlight or review some of your metric units. What you really want to pay attention to is when we get down here to rules of thumb, because I've got some metric units that equal standard or customary units. So we'll get to that in just a second. So when we look at the metric system, 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. And 1 metric ton, which is how we abbreviate that, equals 1,000 kilograms. When we look at U.S. customary units, 1 pound, and that's the abbreviation, LB, equals 16 ounces, or OZ, which is the abbreviation, and 1 ton, or capital T, equals 2,000 pounds. Rules of thumb, 1 kilogram, and this is going to look like a new symbol to you. This is a symbol that we use when we say it's about. So it looks like the equal sign, and then it has a little wavy line above that. So 1 kilogram is about 2 2/10 pounds. So this is going to be important. 1 ounce is about 30 grams. So we will have this poster hanging up in the classroom for you to refer back to, but I just wanted to kind of introduce it and review some of those. And all of these have to do with weight, okay? So those would be our metric and our customary units for weight. So what do you need to be able to do today? Well, you need to be able to look at some objects and decide, is it going to be a cat that's 10 kilograms, 100 kilograms, or 1,000 kilograms? What makes the most sense? And remember, with math, we want to think about what is the most reasonable answer. Does my answer make sense? Okay, so if we remembered from the chart a minute ago, a kilogram is about 2.2 pounds. So most of us don't think of our cat or any of our other pets in the metric system, but this is what we're going to use today. So would it make sense that my cat was 10 kilograms, 100 kilograms, or 1,000 kilograms? Now if you think about 1,000 down here, that would be, what is that, 1,000 times 2.2? That's pretty big, right? I don't think I have a cat that big. That's kind of scary. This is kind of scary. This is a little more doable, right? It's going to be kind of a fat cat, but this one makes the most sense. So I would circle this one. Okay. Let's say that we have a can of green beans. Our choices are 4 grams, 40 grams, or 400 grams. So we're talking grams. And remember, we've used grams in class, right? With our little gram pieces that we've measured on the balance that we've used for science. And would it make sense that it's 4 grams? That would be like 4 of those tiny little cubes. And we're talking a can of green beans. So this one doesn't quite make sense. 40 of those or 400. Can of green beans is kind of heavy if you pick it up. So I'm going to go with the 400 grams for that one. And let's say a soccer ball. Our choices are 0 and 6/10 kilograms. Now remember, a kilogram is a bigger unit, right? That's 1,000 grams. 6 kilograms would be 6,000 grams, right? Or 60 kilograms would be 60,000 grams. So which of those makes the most sense? This one seems way too big to me. And even this one, because that would be 1,000 of those gram pieces. Soccer ball is not that heavy. I mean, the size itself is kind of big, but its weight would not be. So I am going to stick with the 0.6 kilograms for the soccer ball, okay? Now, what I want you to be thinking about is in our classroom, this might get you thinking about grams and ounces. If you think about a nickel, just a regular nickel. A nickel is about 5 grams. So 5 of those gram pieces would be a nickel. So I want you to think about objects in our classroom that would be 1 gram, 10 grams, 20 grams, even 100 grams, okay? We did one of these tests, I believe, with an apple in our balance for science one day. So if you think about what objects could you pick up around the room that would fall into those categories, which kind of leads me to what I'd like to talk about next. This is just a reminder of when I'm changing units, what do I need to do. I'm going to jump back up here in a second, but what I would like for you to do, we're going to create a gram and ounce museum. So I'd like for you to find some objects that you could bring in from home, and it doesn't have to be a lot of things. Don't bring anything of value, but bring in some things that you think might be measured in grams or ounces. And we will label them, and then you guys are going to take turns going around with the balance and seeing what you think the weight is, whether it's, what it is in grams and ounces, and be able to convert that. So bring in some items to go in the gram and ounce museum, and don't worry, you'll get them back when we're done. I just want to use them for a short period of time. Okay? So back to our changing units. We have a poster in the classroom with some little sayings on it about changing units. And I just want to remind you that if we're going from a small unit to a large unit, that you're going to divide, okay? If you're going from a large unit to a small unit, you're going to multiply, all right? So some of what you're going to be doing in class is taking some of those objects like I just showed you with the cat and the green beans and the soccer ball, and you're going to try to pick the best unit and measurement for that object, but you're also going to have to do some conversions where you might be changing from ounces to grams or grams to ounces or pounds and things like that. So you need to be able to go back and forth between some of those units and be able to use your subtraction and your division skills to do that. All right? So hopefully you took some good notes. Write down any questions that you have and be ready to work when you come to class. See ya.